Here, there is power. That's how that women's right got to be located in the state of New York. You see, they got it from our people. You see, now, those leaders, they're not term people. They're not there for 2 years. They're not there for 4 years. They are in there for life. And they can't say, I'm quitting. They can't do that. You don't quit. So when they're chosen, you see, they accept that responsibility. And they answer to the clan leaders. You see, if we have an errant leader, think about this. If there's an errant leader, the clan mothers will take care of it. They send a warning out. Better get on that path, on that right path. First warning. Second warning. Ample time, plenty of time to correct his wrongdoings. You see, third time around that's the end of it. It's called a dehorning. It's one of the worst things that can happen. And it's up to the clan mothers to remove that person. And one of the most worst things that can happen with the removal of a leader, you see, they can't put a leader in until that person passes on. It could be 30 years, 40 years. Very, very difficult decisions. That's why, our leaders today, they're in there for life. They're not popularity guys. They're not paid. They're in there for our community, our betterment. My brother was a leader. He's passed. He was a borrowed chief. And that's the flexibility within this democracy that I belong to. There's a mechanism for just about everything. So that's when I say we have laws, and our laws preceded the laws of this country, the United States. And we stand on those principles. We stand on the sovereignty. And I think Bruce mentioned, he said something about Native Americans. Well, let me just kind of correct Bruce. If you think of Native Americans, Native American implies we were Americans in the beginning. Not true. I think the correct English term that you might want to use would be indigenous. That probably comes the closest. That refers to the population anywhere in the world that this is their culture, tradition, language. And I think that would be proper. You see, it's archaeologists and anthropologists that slapped these names on us. And the guy that crossed the ocean blew, what was his name? Yeah. That's where some of those names came from. And so there's some great principles. There's a wealth of information for our young children. And for our young children that are here today, you are so important to us. All of you, because we're all related. You are our future. And to our mothers today, too. I thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Daniho, Yahweh, that is all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cass Vandy, and I'm president of the Neighborhood Association. And I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us. Al, thank you so much for coming today and honoring us with this. I wanted to thank you. I'd like to give thanks first to the passion of Bruce Farrington. Come on, guys. He did a phenomenal job bringing this all together. He has been amazing. And his helpmate, Edie Farrington. She's been with him every step of the way. I know this. Just a quick aside, I wanted to say that when we first proposed putting the battle up, Barb Clayton, one of the members of our Neighborhood Association board, came up and asked if we could do something other than a battle for the first one. So that is how the Indian mural came about, with one exception. My Mariah Lynn Van Day Doyle suggested that we do something multicultural. So between those two aspects, we got the Indian mural. We're very, very pleased. Thanks to the Lightfoot family for providing the studio for our mural, and to the Sodus Point Fire Department. Guys, thank you for this place on the wall. But perhaps the most exciting part of this project has been watching the response of our entire community. Take a moment to stop and look at the coming together of so many different organizations and individuals. The Sodus Point Garden Club, the Sodus Point Fire Department, the Numbered Streets Association, wide ranges from our business people and individuals. We'll use these donations and others, hopefully, guys, as they arrive to complete the funding of both this Native American scene and the War of 1812 battle, the Sodus Point Battle of 1813. Every cent you donate will go into this mural, a project, and if there is enough interest, we'd like to look ahead to two more historic pieces, one on the other side of the building and one on the abutment, the trestle abutment down the road. As your neighborhood association, we're excited to welcome you to today's dedication. We'd love for you to become active members of our group. We'd love for you to support the mural. We have handouts for both and all, and we thank you again. This is a true coming together of our community. Congratulations, all of us.
Next, we'd like to have Mark DeCracker come up and talk a little bit about Mural Mania and what it means and what it is. Why we do murals.
Okay, I promise not to be too long. Luckily, we've been blessed with a lovely day in Sodus Point. Not too hot, just it's absolutely perfect. Nice breeze from the south today. But it's been a group of great people, and it all started back when I wanted a way to discover, like Bruce talked about, we don't know our history. When I would find out that kids wouldn't know about the Erie Canal, they might know that that's the canal that they drive over on a bridge, Route 14 or Route 31, but they don't know about it. They didn't know that there were 3 canals. They didn't know that there was Clinton's Ditch, the enlargement. There were aqueducts. So we decided to paint this scene in Lyons that showed incredible history with the trolley abutment, the peppermint building, and the towpath, which is right next to where the present-day canal is today. And we put it up, and we had the same kind of thing. The community came together to honor our past. And when we honored our past, these 2 kids came up, and they were standing looking at the mural, probably 8 and 10, looking and staring into history. And I knew that day that it was going to be a successful program. I didn't know that I'd be speaking at Sodus Point 3 years later. I mean, to say the extent of how fast this has grown. And it's a group of great, dedicated artists and professionals around that we've met. The artist that was, I want to recognize Pat Gorthy out here, that she doesn't want to be, but she's been really a spearhead from the beginning and got the Wayne County Council for the Arts to participate in painting over Mural Lyons. We had a mural that was 18 years old, that totally faded. She got the artists to come and help paint. And since then, we've had residuals. One back there, Bev, stand up. Oh, well, you're already standing, I guess. And if there's any other artists that's shown up I haven't recognized you, please. They've come and painted. And Pat has been there with us, got them together, and she works with the Robert Bindler Foundation and got a donation for Mural Mania that keeps the heats and the lights on in the Mural Mania Painting Center. So you've been priceless to us, Pat, and thanks for the support over the years. Another one that's been grateful is Golden Paint. That's a New York company. It's not made in China. It's New York State. Great paint, great facility, great people. And they've been, I think it's upwards of $7,000 of donations already. I only met them last year, and they would just keep, I'd say, we're painting another mural with volunteers, and the paint would come. So it's been great. And I often say, if we paint it, they will come, and they have come. And just 2 weeks ago, Cheryl Longyear is sitting right out there. 2 weeks ago, she called me. We want a mural in Montezuma because there's not a red dot on the map. So I said, well, and I said, yeah, you go through Montezuma real quick, but if you think about it, there's a lot of great history there. There's digging and Clinton's through the malaria, and there's the Richmond Aqueduct, 31 arches. Can you imagine building that through a swamp? Well, there will be that Richmond Aqueduct painted soon. So I'd like to, from the beginning, James has been there. I mean, it was in 2003 that I went to James's graduation party and saw his incredible artwork. At the same time, I wanted to honor, they had a contest for the World Trade Center Memorial. And I said, we want to do this, and I got some friends together, and James is one of them. I said, James, can you do these scenes of a woman that walks out and she falls on her knees and can't believe what she's seeing in front of her eyes? Well, James drew that up, and we put that in our presentation, and we were a finalist for the World Trade Center Memorial because of James and some of our great friends. And we were the only applicant from Wayne County. So it goes back a few years, but it's been great, James. I knew James through his parents who I went to school with in Sodus, so I'm coming back home today. This is, I spent 7 years, I've spent my wonder years in Overton Williamson, we'll hear about that in a second. But I spent my later years in Sodus, so I'm very familiar. I watched the coal trestle burn from Orchard Terrace, so it's great to see it come back to life in Captain Jack's. So I want to make sure I haven't forgotten anybody. I do want to just mention that the person that drove a lot of this with me is Noel Davis, who passed away in 2007. But I mean, I never saw anybody with a stronger spirit than Noel. He had scleroderma. That's a disease that will eat your skin, and he had lost 3 limbs. But he didn't let that get in his way. He was there with dreams to make this happen. It was a dream of the 40 miles of murals on the way to the dedication in Weedsport that Bob Oakes, we attended in 2007. And we went up to Bob and said, we can have, I think we can do this, Bob. I think if we can just get Jordan and Clyde and Newark to join along, we can have this mural trail of 40 miles. I'm thinking 10 years, 3 years. So, but that was where the spark was laid. And the spark has been continuing to burn. I don't, we got the fire company here, but but it's been great because what this led to, all of a sudden we were in Macedon, and there's a mural within a mural. Thank you, Bev. Great job on it. It has all the 8 clans in there. And we started thinking about those who walked before us. And Al did a wonderful job of saying there have been many who have walked before us. There's been the Native Americans. There's been the Irish, who you'll hear a little later, have walked before us who dug the canal. And there's been many generations of immigrants that have come here. But we all walk that same path. And that path has been incredible with the history of New York State. And that's led to what we're going to have is a Native American trail. Started right here in Wayne County, because we have 3 murals already that have Native Americans in. And I've got a call from Joseph Marshall III, who has written numerous books on Crazy Horse, the Lakotas. And we're possibly going to help him with a mural for Crazy Horse. And then there's, you just mentioned, and Al mentioned the women's rights, suffrage, the Underground Railroad. And what else is this a part of? The Seaway Trail. So you can see how this overlinks, and we are telling the historic story. If we're not going to tell it in classrooms, 4th graders, that's the last time you hear about local history. I can't believe it. It's so important to how we become people in our lives, how we grow, inspire. And so this is just opening those doors. Hopefully children will look at this, adults will look at this and go pick up those books and read. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. Is it Mr. Oakes on next? Or we got Bruce? Thanks a lot for coming out today.